Okay, I just pulled out a bunch of vertebrae here, and I'm just going to separate them real quick into cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. Okay. That's got a transverse foramen in it. So I'm going to find all the ones with transverse foramen. I know they're cervical. There's another one. See if there's any more. Now, all of them probably aren't here. There should be 7, but I don't think this is a full set. So that looks like all the ones in this group. Now let's look for some, well, here's another one here. So we do have 7 there. I know we're not going to have 12 thoracic, but there's a thoracic. How do I know? Well, heart-shaped body, long spinous process, and no transverse foramen. Here's another one. There's another one. And another one. And there's another one. Now the rest of these look like they're going to be lumbars. How do I know? Big body. Transverse process is kind of blunt. And they look like mooses, remember? Now let's look how they would change as they get closer to the different kinds. So this one, all these have, cervicals have foramen in their transverse processes. But this one's getting a long spinous process, kind of like the thoracic. But I know it's cervical because of that transverse foramen. So this is probably C7, right before it becomes T1. And then when we get down here, some of these later thoracics, like T11, T12, are probably going to start looking like lumbars. And this one's getting close here, because this is still a little bit longer than the normal lumbar. So that, let's see if we have a feature here that can tell me that that's a thoracic. Well, remember the feature here that could tell me it's thoracic is the costal facets in the body and transverse process. And sure enough, I have one here and one there. Costal facet, which indicates a rib connects there. So this is probably T11 or T12. Remember, it's smooth because another bone attaches there. It indicates cartilage. Of course, all of the vertebrae have the facets here and here, because remember, that's going to fit on top of another vertebrae. See, that one doesn't go there, so let's try a couple of these here. Maybe that one there, okay? Or vice versa. But only thoracics have those costal facets in the body and the transverse process. And that one still looks kind of like a giraffe. This one definitely does. So we'll call that thoracic. And then the lumbars, they have a kind of unique vertebral process there. It kind of points down. Okay, so that should help you with that. Now, when we go to the cervicals, lumbar, thoracic, cervicals, remember we got to find those 2 special ones. Atlas and the axis. C1 is the axis. It's just a ring. Doesn't really have a body. And then C2 has that extension that dens. So no, that's the axis. How do they fit together? Well, let me line up by transverse foramen. First of all, there and there. It would fit just like that. And I know you know how to tell the sacrum. Let's look at the back of this guy. Yeah, you're still on the job. So if we look at it from the side, I pointed this out on the earlier video, but we'll do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So C7, you can see how the spinous process starts to get longer and longer as it blends into the thoracics. But again, you know, it's a cervical, but has a transverse foramen. All right, then we got the classic thoracics. Got a whole bunch of drafts on top of one another. Come on down. Let's count them so we can see which one starts to blend in to the lumbar. What can go by the ribs? Remember the last two ribs, 11 and 12, are floating. So that makes this T11 and T12 here. So you can see how, starting with 11 and 12, they get more and more blunter on the spinous process. But if we look at the lumbars, there, oh, there's the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They all have kind of a little protrusion at the end of the nose there, pointing down. Those are the T11 and 12.